There's no bark, no growl, nothing.
Hunted by a pit bull.
My foot just got clamped down.
The dog did what he was supposed to do.
Where do you get that idea?
A missing tricycle, vicious dog bite, and a thick boot that saves the day. Plaintiffs Kelly and Stephen Richards are suing their neighbor for medical bills. Defendant Monica Taylor says the plaintiff brought on the attack herself. Now it's Joe time.
Mr. and Mrs. Richards, you are alleging that Mrs. Richards was bitten by a pit bull owned by Ms. Taylor.
Yes.
All right, and you also, as part of your damages, are seeking compensation for having to install a power opener in your garage because you felt it was hazardous to be exposed to the defendant's pit bull, who you allege was running at large in the front yards of the homes.
Correct. And I've contacted animal control numerous times, and other neighbors have expressed to me in regards to concrete being let loose, and I've had
That's
to...
the dog.
No,
that's your dog, right?
Yes,
is that your dog? Wait a minute. How do you know
dog.
whether she contacted them or not?
Because I have the reports here. Along
That's
with
only,
this.
what you've submitted is only one particular incident. But why don't you hold your point?
Okay.
And we'll come to you.
Okay.
Okay, so I've had problems when I'm trying to load the two babies into the car or unload them from the
What
car.
kind of problems?
When I go out to the car, concrete would come over and kind of corner me and growl, and his hair would rise up, and he'd start barking, where I had to run into my house or to the driver's side so I wouldn't get attacked by the dog.
You felt you're in danger.
Not true
Yes.
at all.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Be polite. Wait your turn. You'll
Yes,
get
sir.
it.
All right. Thank you.
So pulling into the driveway, the dog has also cornered me where I've been scared and could not get out of the vehicle.
What happens on the day in question?
Okay, well, on March 27th, it was a Saturday, we left our house for a few hours to go to the store. Our 7-year-old left the tricycle out in our front yard. We came back 3 hours later, and it was gone. So the next morning, it really got to me because it's an expensive tricycle. And so I went ahead and made a police report that morning at 10 a.m. And I do have that with me as well.
All right, you submitted a copy of that.
Yes, and so that day after I submitted the police report, we were working in our front yard. I went inside the house to go change the baby's diaper. I kept hearing like a squeak come from the backyard. So I went up on my bed, looked out the window, and it goes into Miss Taylor's backyard. I saw her grandson riding our tricycle. So I have pictures of the grandson riding our tricycle. So I went ahead and I was just shocked. I was like, why would a neighbor steal from us? So I went back over and I said, Monica, you need to bring our tricycle back. That is not yours. She told us, and at this time my husband...
And before you interrupt, I know you say she was cussing and hollering about it. Okay, go ahead. Now, keep going.
So she then came up with a story that she actually thought it was for free.
For free?
Yes, because it was left in our front yard. And I said, no, the neighborly thing to do is to come and knock on the door and say, this is left out. Are you by chance getting rid of it? She then changed her story and said that, well, it was found in her yard that morning, so they assumed that we were giving the tricycle to them.
So that's another story. I haven't heard that one, but in any event, go right ahead.
During this time, I had no clue that concrete was there, the pit bull. There's no bark, no growl, nothing. And all of a sudden, my foot just got clamped down. And I knocked down to the ground, and I kept trying to tug because he had a hold of my foot. And I just thought he was going to attack my face and just keep going at it. Okay. So I'm pushing myself on the ground and finally got my foot tugged away. Meantime, Miss Taylor and her daughter are just standing there, not saying anything or doing anything. So we went inside our house, called the police. Animal control came out. Miss Taylor's daughter, Quanika, loaded the dog into a car, and they left.
Before animal control got
Before animal control could get there, because I did let them know. I said, I'm calling the police. This is not okay.
And don't you interrupt.
So
now you're saying that you had an exchange with the defendant's witness. When did that happen?
Of her saying that she would kick my...
Yes.
That was after...
you call a baby and call it...
You shut your mouth. Now, before you get out of hand, let me put it this way. There are various California laws, including criminal, that apply to disrupting these proceedings. So I suggest you stop that. Now, go right ahead,
So
please.
when, before animal control did get there and before Quanica did lift concrete into the car, she came over with the tricycle and with her son and kind of like took the tricycle and kind of pushed it down on the ground and looked at my husband and said, "I've been nothing but nice to your wife. She is now being a." And I thought, well, how are you being nice when you're stealing from me? Your dog just bit me. You don't apologize. You don't ask how I'm doing, and you're just standing there. How is that being nice?
We'll be right back with Judge Joe Brown.
So as the hose went through here, this is what I was trying to find out, if the hose went through where.
There's nothing to do with a hole. We're not talking about a
Right. A
puncture
bite mark
wound.
through the shoe.
We're talking about a crunch.
And crunch, okay.
We're back with Judge Joe Brown. The plaintiff says she was in her yard when her neighbor's pit bull poked his head through her fence. She says the dog clamped down on her foot, and what saved her from serious injury was her boot. Let's take a look.
You have a medical bill here that you've submitted, $394, and also you're seeking a replacement cost for the boots.
Correct.
All right, now, Madam Sonia, would you pass that item of footwear up to the arbitrator, please?
Will I be able to see that boot?
All right.
Okay. So as the hose went through here, this is what I was trying to find out, if the hose went through where.
There's nothing to do with a hole. We're not talking about a
Right. A
puncture
bite mark
wound.
through the shoe.
We're talking about a crunch, a squeeze.
A crunch, okay.
Now, you have the floor.
Okay. Are you sure?
Don't
I
get
did-
cute.
Okay, but anyway.
Be creatively
Okay.
cute.
Basically what happened was the night before the Richards had a yard sale, as they said, Kelly and Steve were not at home, so I pushed it up into my garage, the trike into the
Why?
garage. The way our houses are shaped, they're different. I just pushed it in there, left to go get my son, came back home in a nutshell, forgot about it, laid down early in the morning. When all of this happened, I heard Kelly yelling
I'm
at my
looking at
grandson.
Exhibit 1 from the photographic or demonstrative evidence. It's your grandson on
Right.
their trike
Right.
in your
Okay.
backyard.
Correct.
Now, how do you explain that?
Well, I'm trying to explain every time you keep cutting me off.
Well, you aren't
Just
going
like
on
I-
anything relevant. Get
Okay.
to the point.
So what- okay.
You're at the fence line. I'm leading you back to the fence line.
Okay.
Now,
So at that time when she was yelling, kicking the fence, it said she's going to have us arrested and this and that and the other. My dog was in the garage. He came out, snapped her on her foot. Okay.
was she physically threatening you? Was she physically threatening you?
Yes,
She
she
said
was
you
not
said she was
physically, it
calling
was
the to call the
but she was
police.
threatening- she gonna threaten us and she gonna throw us in jail.
So what happened
And
if your
kicking the
daughter
fence,
ran
so-
out and hit her?
So the dog did what he was supposed to do. She kicked
What do you mean he
the fence
did what
on
he's
the
supposed to
property.
do?
He did
Where
what
do
he
you
was
get
supposed
that
to do.
idea? Where do you
Okay.
get that idea?
She was
you
yelling
couldn't
at
even
her.
done what the
Okay.
dog did.
Okay, excuse me?
How can the dog do legally what you can't do legally?
Okay.
Nobody's threatening to get physical with anybody. The threat is I'm calling the police and animal control.
Okay.
Or what in
Right.
the hell are you doing
And
with
then-
my son's trike over here?
Okay. And I tried to explain that just like I couldn't explain it to you just now, not giving me a chance. I couldn't explain it to them. Two of them yelling at me.
So
But
the
they
dog
kicking the
can
fence.
attack her
The dog
and use
came up
physical
and snapped
force
her.
that you couldn't. You couldn't have hit her.
No,
She
why would I
couldn't
hit her?
have hit her. So why can your dog bite her? Oh,
Okay.
that's what the dog's supposed to do.
No, she was on our property kicking the
That's
fence,
why
yelling at my grandson,
The
yelling
fence-
at my
by the way,
grandson,
the
and
fence
yelling
line
at me.
is
So
it's
my dog
halfway.
did what he
It's
was supposed to
down
do.
the property
Now-
line. Part of the fence faces her property.
Right.
She didn't kick you?
Right. This line goes across.
And by
There
the way,
was a slap.
your
You're
dog,
not
for the
trying-
preceding period of discussion here for at least 1 year, has been running at large with no leash
And I have
in
my
various
neighbors,
people's
I have
front
my
yards, and there are
witnesses.
apparently a lot of children in the neighborhood.
No, she got a lot of children.
Okay,
Everybody
you have
else,
a 2-year-old.
everybody else got
You
one
have
or
a
two.
2-year-old grandson.
Everybody else
Okay,
got-
put the
yeah.
chart up. Put the
Okay.
chart up. This is not dog bites, crunch like we're talking about. This is, they
That wasn't
use
a
down
crunch, it was a
here
snap.
gross bodily harm, or some states say serious bodily injury, or death. 2/3 of that total with pit bulls is children under the age of 10.
Right.
So where is this? You have all of these young children in the neighborhood. You had an animal that you don't keep on the leash.
No, the dog do be on a leash, but the dog was
yeah,
not
and
on a
it's
leash
running
then.
free in the front yard, and there
the
are
dog was
other
not running
reports.
free in the front
So the
yard.
bottom line is, I'm listening to you. Then you made the gratuitous remark, and that's what he did. What he was supposed to do. That's what he was trained to do. All right, that's it.
But she was
so the
kicking
bottom
him.
line is if that's what the dog was supposed to be, you created a nuisance. That means it's intentional conduct, which brings into play punitive damages. $778.30 and $2,000 punitive. Your total recovery is $2778.30, and that's pathetic, lady.
That's crazy.
That's the award. End done deal. Out of here. Bye.
Well, remember, it's good fences that make good neighbors, a fact that became concrete when the dog of the same name stepped up this neighborhood drama. The defendant is bitten this time. Plaintiff gets the judgment.
Please raise your right hand.
Website owner Barbara Hart is suing her ex-boyfriend for renovations to his business. Defendant Mark Bailey says the plaintiff did the work because they were together.
Ms. Hart, you are suing Mr. Bailey, who seems to have been an ex-boyfriend or at least a close friend with benefits, let's say. And you allege that while you were on good terms, you decorated and furnished a pub that the defendant had, a business, and you converted it or assisted him in converting it to a wine room and art gallery. Now, you, sir, say that considering the relationship you had at the time, you thought it was ill-advised that the plaintiff did this, but she demanded to do this and insisted. And amongst other things, she was attempting to impress you with her personal wealth while you were together. There's also an allegation in here that is raised in the defense that the plaintiff threatened to have two of her grown sons come in and do physical harm to you. All right. After the breakup, as I guess muscle to get the money returned. Okay, this is all up somewhere around and about Bakersfield, here in California. Let's see, Madam Plaintiff, please give me your version of the facts first.
Well, I'm shocked to hear some of the allegations that Mr. Bailey's bringing up, because I'm here because Mark made a commitment to me to pay me for the materials that I used to improve his what was a coffee room, saloon-type room with wood floors and holes in the wall and nothing on the windows. And I agreed that I would take a look at the project and make curtains for him. During the course of our friendship, the project grew into a wine room art gallery with a pressing deadline for the wine festival. I got with a girlfriend of mine who is the artist who provided the artwork for the gallery. It was a brilliant idea. I think Mark's idea to put a wine room in there was wonderful, and I think we collaborated together very nicely on making it a wine room gallery.
So what was your purpose of collaborating it? And I know you noticed you keep saying we work together. You keep using that equivalent. What was your purpose for extending
I shouldn't say we. I'm being nice.
loan?
Mark didn't contribute anything whatsoever.
But why did you extend the loan, and why do you unconsciously keep referring to the two of you as a unity?
We'll be back with more Judge Joe Brown in a moment.
I get a phone call from my friend Longhead Jimmy, who's sitting right here, stating that he was over at Miss Hart's house the night before. She was sitting on his lap, and that she said that her sons was going to come and beat me up.
It's Joe time after this.
We're back with Judge Joe Brown. The plaintiff in this case says her ex-boyfriend asked her to spruce up his bar, and it evolved into a total transformation. She says the bills for what became a lovely wine room gallery were never paid for by the defendant. Let's get back to the case.
I noticed that you do not have a contract, an IOU, a promissory note, or anything. Why?
Well, there are pitfalls of doing business.
Were you trying to be an investor in this?
No.
Now, let's go to the defendant. What do you have to say about this, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. In early June of last year, I was dating Miss Hart, and it was already a wine room and it was a coffee shop, Your Honor, for about the previous year. But then I was leasing it out and I took the area back and I wanted to do a nicer wine room, like with half wine barrels, olives, the oils, the stuff you see when you go wine tasting. And away she went with it. And she did a beautiful job. But about 2 or 3 days into it, she asked me about an artist friend of hers. And she said, could we maybe make it into an art gallery wine tasting room? And I thought, well, that'll be classy. And it wasn't going to be of any cost to me. And so I said, I went on her website, saw the art, thought it was nice. And I thought, well, that could probably bring more people in. So I agreed to let Barbara have her friend come in and do the art gallery because I thought it'd be nice. I have submitted emails where I sent to Barbara appreciating her generosity in sprucing up my place. And I also received an email from Barbara on June the 7th in which she says what she's doing, what she's got accomplished, and what she's going to go out and shop. And it says, and don't worry about money, as long as you feed me. And what I was doing, Your Honor, like I say, we was dating.
I saw that. Go ahead. You were dating.
Yes, we was dating. And so Barbara and her family and friends would eat and drink in the restaurant for free, which was fine. Barbara had a key to the wine room. She liked nice wine, as I think most people do. She had carte blanche as far as any wine she wanted. And she thanked me for allowing her to, I think she put it as, utilize her creative outlets. And then in almost mid-August, I believe it was around August the 10th, I ended the relationship with Barbara. And about 2 days later, I get a phone call from my friend Longhaired Jimmy, who's sitting right here, Jimmy with the long hair, and stating that he was over at Miss Hart's house the night before. She was sitting on his lap. And that she said that her sons was going to come and beat me up. And so Jimmy, who's a mutual friend of both of ours, told us about that. And he said that Barbara was now going to sue me for the money that she had put into the wine room unless you take her back. And later that day, which was August the 13th, I received an email from Barbara that I submitted, and where she acknowledged that was said, that she said her sons was going to tear me a new bleep.
You don't have to bleep it.
Sorry.
Closed captioning sponsored by Bad Boys Bad Habits Cost You Money? Huh. Call 1-877-JOE'S-LAW or visit JudgeJoeBrown.com.
Well, let me ask you one question.
Yes.
Did you revoke her and her family's license to come in and consume the beverages and patronize the place?
After about 2 months, I did, Your Honor.
Why?
It was getting out of hand. Like I have ABC liquor laws I have to follow, and Miss Hart would not just go in and order drinks. She would get unopened bottles of liquor to go.
How many to go?
Sorry?
How many would she get at a time to go?
Like a bottle to go, but even one bottle under my ABC license, type 47, I couldn't allow any liquor to go out of the place.
Now, let me just make a long story short. I want to hear first from your witness now. Sir, what's your name?
My name's Jimmy.
Now, you keep standing up here, Mr. Defendant, sir. Mr. Bailey, remain
Yes,
there. You still have the podium. Well, you let your witness take the podium. Your name is Mr.
Denson.
Denson. Now,
Yes, sir.
do you know Miss Hart?
Yes, sir.
Do you know him?
I do.
Okay. Now, what do you have to add to this mix?
Just that I was there the whole time, and it was a gift. She was doing things to make the place nicer. He made her aware that he was not able to pay for the things that she wanted. He wanted to do it cheaper on a budget, and she wanted to do it extravagant. He told her, I can't afford it. She said, don't worry about it. And as far as her taking alcohol from the bar, she has done that. She did it the night I was sitting on her lap.
So, ultimately, I assume the business is thriving. So you will get something back. And I think what you're going to need to pay her is about $2,500 back. So that'll be the award, $2,500 in your cost. That's my award.
This courtroom is now in recess.
The plaintiff took time to redecorate. Too bad she didn't find time to design a contract. This looked more like a favor than a business deal. Produced judgment for the plaintiff. We'll be right back.
Next on Judge Joe Brown. after a kitchen makeover, did somebody cook up a scheme?
You seem like you're honest people, so which one of you do I believe?
Next, Judge Joe.
We're back. The plaintiff provided the makeover, but never expected to handle the leftover bill. Still, there's no contract for this job, made it look more like a gift. The defendant is benefiting, so the plaintiff gets a reduced judgment. To submit your case to Judge Joe Brown, to download sample documents, or to find out how the law can work for you, go to judgejoebrown.com.